Tenfold. Okay, so you growing up in San Francisco. How long did you stay there in San Francisco?
So I was born right there on Army Street, right there in St. Luke's Hospital. Um, Moved over there to Pacifica. It's like 20 minutes out towards the beach. Then I lived in South San Francisco for the most of my life. Daly City, South San Francisco. Like San Francisco was like there's a lot of districts in there. So you got like the Mission, the Fillmore, you got Hunters Point, you got Sunnydale Projects. You know what I'm saying? There's like, but it's all Frisco. And then right on the Mission, it turns into Daly City. So it's Daly City, basically San Francisco, bro. It's just another name. It's Daly City. You know what I'm saying? And then you got South City, which is South San Francisco, and that's where I went to. I went to elementary school in Daly City, and then I went to middle school in South City, South San Fran.
And let me ask you this, bro, if you don't mind. What does San Francisco look like? Like I think about what's that show called? Full House, I think, bro. Like, what does San Francisco look like for someone that's never been there? How does it look?
That's the other side of the town. And the Michon, it looked like like almost kind of like Frisco is very unique because every house is kind of different. You know what I'm saying? But it's a big city. Buses always going by. And the Mission got a lot of it's like mini like South America over there. You got the Hondos, the Hondurans, you got the Mexicanos, you got the Nicoyas, the Nicaragüenses. You know what I'm saying? You got the Guatemalans, you got the Africanos, you got the Güeritos, you got everything over there. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, that's
But
pretty
mostly
interesting.
dominant back then, it was Latinos.
Okay, so for those that don't know, bro, like if they're coming on here to watch you, you lived in Northern California, right?
Yeah, Northern California, yeah.
Can you make a distinction real quick for what's the difference between Northern Cali and Southern Cali? Because it's like, rivalry, I would say, that everybody hears about, especially on YouTube now. What does all that stem from? What is that about as far as like the history and then your stance about it right now?
So the North and Sur wars is what you're talking about, or just Northern California and Southern California cities?
Northern Cali and Southern Cali's, and then we'll touch on the other stuff here momentarily. But I'm saying you're in Northern Cali. It's different
Northern
than Southern Cali.
California to me, like Frisco, Oakland, it's the trenches, homie. It's grimy. Everybody's a con artist. Most of the time, people are just on some con artist shit. Not everybody. I gotta make my words a little better, but the people I grew up around with con artists, is a lot of drug addicts, a lot of dope fiends out here, homeless people. In San Francisco, people, pull out that pipe. They'll smoke it right on the corner. Dude, shoot dope on the corner. Like it's grimy over there, bro. It's a very grimy place to live and to be, bro. I don't even really like going over there no more, to keep it real with you. In Southern California, as soon as you hop through the Grapevine, right? It's called Bakersfield, and then right after Bakersfield is the Grapevine. You go into Southern California, you're like, oh my God, oh, this is dope. Palm trees and ocean. Now, mind you, they got grimy places too, but man, every time I go to LA or San Diego, the raza, the people, it don't matter what color really, everybody just seems genuinely happier, bro.
Interesting. And in Cali, bro, they got beaches, and it's probably a different vibe out there. I'm in West Texas. I'm in the desert, bro. So it's crazy out here.
Yeah, I love Southern California. Northern California got these beautiful spots like Salinas, Watsonville. Like right when you pass San Jose, it gets to like a really beautiful Hollister, just really beautiful towns because they have beaches there too. Santa Cruz, they got Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. It's really nice, bro. They got beautiful places in Northern California too, bro. They got a lot of camping grounds like Yosemite Campground, big redwood trees, and San Francisco's a tourist attraction. So even in the city, like if you don't not living there and just visiting, it's a fun place to visit for sure.
Interesting. Okay, so let's continue on with the story, bro. So you're growing up. Where is your dad? You said earlier he's in the pen. What was the impact of your father, your real father, in your life? As far as was he there? What was your relationship with your father, bro?
I always looked at my father as my hero, bro. He was like Superman in my eyes, bro. When I was younger, when I was a kid, I wanted to be just like him. I wanted to imitate his every move and be just like him. You know what I'm saying? And he was a gang member, bro. My dad was from Eastside Daly City. I'm talking about. And all he ever told me when I was around him were war stories about gang violence. How he put in work on these people, how they did this. It's just nothing but gang violence. You know what I'm saying? When I was in fourth grade, they had the D.A.R.E program back then. And the D.A.R.E program came to my sister's school. So my school, me and my sister in South City. And they said, and the main person they're interviewing was my father, right? My dad and shit. And they asked him a couple of questions, and then they asked the question to the class: "Does anybody know anybody here?" And then my sister cried and said, "That guy's my dad," and ran home. So my mom, for some reason, thought it was a good idea to take me to the Daly City police station and watch that interview. But the only thing in the interview and the only thing that they showed in that was glorifying gangs. So I see my uncle Flacco, Frank Nitty from East Side. I see my other uncles. I see my dad. And I just seen them all like, "What's up, East Side, North Day, woo, doo, woo, blah, woo, woo," just partying, drinking pistos, hella homeboys having fun. I'm like, that shit look fun. That's what I want to do when I grow up.
Hey,
Mind you,
but
I'm
hey,
8 years old.
hey, but Toro, you're saying you saw this on a screen, or where'd you see this at again?
It was from the D.A.R.E program. They used to have, it was called D.A.R.E, Drug Awareness Resistance Education. I believe that's what it was called. And they used to go to elementary schools and teach people and tell people not to do drugs and not to be gang members. But like, why do little kids need to be worried about that? They should be showing that to high school kids.
And you
So
said your sister saw your father on the screen and ran out crying, bro.
yeah, she said, "That's my dad," and then ran home from elementary school.
Man, that's crazy, bro. I kind of was thinking that was the. It reminded me of the clip from Gotos when he goes to prison. I kind of almost correlated that. You remember that clip where they're in prison with Gotos and they're like doing the same thing, right? They're in prison, showing how people live in prison. But I guess that wasn't the clip, right?
You got to be one heck of a person to get to prison and do an interview behind the prison walls. What type of
Interesting.
person are you?
Okay, so we'll continue. So your father, he was your role model, right? It's kind of reminding me of my stepfather, right? He was really good. My stepfather was really good for nothing, but I somehow looked up to him, bro, like some kind of a twisted, like that's a tough guy, So I kind of can relate looking up to someone that probably is not a really a good role model, but man, it's something about the mystique. What was it about, bro? The gangster life, did it draw you in? You said it kind of did, but what was it about, being a gangster back in those times in that day and age?
Well, right after I seen that video, I started pulling my socks up. I started cutting off the you know how you used to have those shoes and you stick it to the other side and then stick. I forgot what it's called, but I remember I got the scissors and cut that off. Put my socks up the next day. Mind you, I'm like in fifth grade. Then I got that 17 Reasons album playing. So I remember I went to my uncle's house and I see some red Cortezes. And I put his shoes on. So I was actually walking in a real killer's shoes. And I didn't know that the meaning of walking in other people's shoes was real. And it's very real, bro.
Man, that's real deal right there, bro. Crazy. So the next day you go do all that, right? Like that's what you want to do, basically.
I want to be just like my dad, bro. What little kid, though, in reality, don't want to be like their dad, bro?
True. The Bible even says, train up a child in the way they should go. When they depart, when they grow old, they will not depart from it. That can be either good or bad, right? It's the way you train your child, what they see. But I digress. So your dad's in prison, bro. What happens? I guess you go into the street. What's the transition from you being young? You just start getting involved in the street element? Go ahead.
So after middle school, I didn't ever see my dad no more. He caught a Fed case when I was in my teenage. He was always in and out of prison, so I didn't really have a real good relationship with dude. I was little, we were cool and shit though. But when I got to be a teenager, I didn't know who this fool was. He had did 7 years supposedly in the feds or whatever. And I went to my mom ended up finding a house cheaper to live or to buy in the North Bay, which is Fairfield. So soon Fairfield, California. So we
Okay.
ended up crossing the bridge and then moving over to the North Bay area.
Okay, let me ask you this. If you don't have to disclose it, bro, but what's your father? What's his name? Or he's pretty known, right? What's his name?
It's Conejo from East Side.
Okay. I guess now we'll get into I saw your father in a couple of videos you made and other people's platforms here and there. I thought he was kind of a cool, interesting character. Can you tell the story of him and he said that he didn't wear, boots or something on the yard?
Yeah, one of his famous things is that he always tell me, "Son, I just got bragging rights." So he got a picture to this day. I got it on my old Instagram where he's wearing chanclas with a red rag on his shoulder, and he was he was really big. I come from a real strong family bloodline, and back then he was joked out entertainment when he hits the bag. You know what I'm saying? At least back then, the bag used to swing like it was Mike Tyson. It was hitting the bag or something. You know what I'm saying? And he said he went to Susanville and the Sureños had the yard there. And they told him you can't wear your red rag. He said he went up to the biggest sureno there and told him let's go 1-on-1 in the gym. He said he whooped on dude, took over their handball court, put the red rag on, and started playing handball. He said the homies used to have this rule about chocolate slippers and that you're not supposed to wear slippers. But this is the thing. This is how I was raised. Pop said, man, we don't care about rules, homie. We gang banging. We do what we do. We don't listen to the next man's rules. We listen to God, and God's a killer. Period. So this is what we do. We don't listen to the NF. We don't listen to them. We make the rules over here, homie. And he just always told me that in my brain. Then he had pictures to back it up. So I grew up with that same mentality. Like, yeah, ain't no man finna tell me nada if it don't make sense.
So your father was walking the yard in sandals with his bandana showing, and that was a very braggadocious. That was a pretty big deal, right?
In front of everybody like this. In front of the other two homies behind him, throwing up the dead set. You know what I'm saying?
And real quick, go ahead.
He's throwing up the dead set, DC, Daly City. You know what I'm saying? And he's in front of like some other homeboys behind him. And everywhere I go in this world, people, you know, they know who he is and shit. I mean, not in this world, but at least Northern California or California, they know him, bro. You know.
And I don't want to get in too much into the prison stuff. Well, I kind of want to get out of that here momentarily. But I want to ask you. You said that he basically wasn't going to bow down to the big guys, right? Like he was not with that. Can you touch on that if you can?
Yeah, like with Fresno, he always told me when they lost the Fresno Bulldogs, he was like, man, Fresno was our heart and soul of the north there. He was like, that should have never happened. Homies got that power trip. He's always telling me that homies would go do a violation and think they're super, no, they'll go do like 4 or 5 months in prison or a year in prison and come out super political. Oh, yeah, you know, I got shot up and this. And he's like, well, you ain't never put no working in the hood. You get slapped right now, bro. Get the fuck up out of here. Excuse my language. But he would say that. And I would see that. And then when I grew up gangbanging, I would be like, man, these homies is weak. But now all of a sudden they're older and they got girls, homegirls around or little homies, and they're sitting there talking out their ass, bro. But when they go to prison, what they're protected, so they hide behind the end. Like, that's how I figured it. There's politics in it. But even to me, though, when I've been to county jail before, like, they try to tell me to be quiet a couple of times. Like, hey, homie, we're gonna put you on freeze if you don't stop counting out loud. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I write the kite back and I tell them, hey homie, I'm gonna keep working out. It's program time. Wake your game up. So the main dude tried to tell the 2 other homies on my unlock sign language in them, and he's like, stop talking to him. He's on freeze. So I tell the other 2 homies, hey, look, bro. If you guys don't talk to me right now, I'm going to take it as an immediate threat, and I'm going to take off on both of you right now, bro. I'm going to bang your shit right now. And they just laughed and said, damn, Toro. And they looked at that dude and said, sorry, bro. We're going to talk to the homie. He's the homie. I said, that dude's a J-Cat, bro.
So I
took over the module.
Hey, Toro, you're speaking a lot of there's some heavy topics right here, bro. I do want to ask this when we get out of the prison stuff topics, John, or whatever. But so you would say that the politics, right? Politicking in California, like would you say they kind of went overboard, or it's just real? They got a real good grasp and grip on the people, right?
It's to destruct, bro. It's a divide and conquer agenda. The politics strictly, it's all divide and conquer, bro. The whole raza is mixed up in like 4 different groups. You got nortenos, you got paisas, you got bulldogs, and you got sureños. Now, 2024, you got all that plus their dropouts. Gang banging, whatever gang they're banging.
What's a dropout for someone that don't know what a dropout is?
Somebody that chose not to follow the politics, or somebody who got removed over a bad call or over a good call. It just depends. Like, if you do something out of pocket, the homies will stab you in prison. If your paperwork ain't cleared in prison, they'll whack you quick and you'll get up out of there. They'll be removed. They'll be labeled as a dropout.
What are your thoughts on dropouts?
It just depends what they did.
I saw on a video. Go ahead. Well, I was going to say, I saw in a video you said that a lot of dropouts hang with actives in California, but people don't talk about that. Is that true?
My whole life, bro. My whole life, there's been DOs at backyards, and even times where I was like, I was 15, 16 years old when I first started, really got jumped into a gang and all that. The older homies that were there in the pictures, when I got like to be 20, I'd go to jail and they'd be like, the other homies from Fairfield would be like, who was you kicking it with? And I said, these homies right here, we kick it with them all the time. And, you know, that fool rolled it up in Susanville. You know, he did this, you know, he did that. He's not even a good homie in No More Sound. I'm like, dang. But in the city, in San Francisco, and places I've just been around, there's always been DOs and actives hanging out. As soon as they get on this computer, it's a different story, bro. Or they want to impress a certain young homie, but deep down inside, all these fools got brothers and cousins and nephews and dads and shit that have DO'd, and they're not gonna say, oh, well, because you woke up late and you didn't want to put your shoes on, or because you didn't want to stick a pedazo up the hootie wop, you know what I'm saying? We're not gonna love you no more. People don't operate like that, bro. This is not a movie. This is real life. You know what I'm saying?